Bonjour, MamFam. We're in Paris, France today.
It is our first time here as a group, and mine and Alan's first time here ever.
So we are headed to do a bunch of classic Paris excursions from the Mona Lisa to the Eiffel Tower, so come with us. Also, we need to eat so much cheese.
Oh, sure.
And bread.
Yep.
And coffee.
Yes.
Allons-y.
Our first main stop today is the Louvre, but we are walking there from our hotel. We are staying at the recommendation of a good friend of mine at Hotel Bachemont, which is in the 2nd arrondissement of Paris. Paris is divided into 20 of these districts, and when picking where you're going to stay in Paris, it's just about what's important to you. We wanted to be walking distance from some attractions, but in not too touristy of an area, and this has been perfect. But one thing we've noticed around Paris as we've explored arriving here yesterday and this morning are these little guys. There's little 8-bit video game characters all about.
These pixel art pieces of street art are reportedly by a very famous street artist by the name of Invader, yes, like Space Invaders, who has done these ceramic tile pieces all across the city and actually all across the world. Reportedly there are over 2,000 pieces in Paris alone, but they are in Canada, they're in the UK, they're in Bolivia, you name it. There's actually an app that you can go and like use geolocation to track and collect them and get points, but just a fun little pop-up that, again, street art bringing the city to life, and everywhere you look, there's 8-bit characters. I'm sure we won't see any more.
Nope, we gotta collect we're collecting all 2,000. That's the video today, guys.
That's 8.
That's it, we're at 8. We're doing great. But it is just such a stunning city to walk about with all the incredible architecture. And while we are en route to the Louvre, we are also looking for coffee and croissant, obviously.
Our morning has begun at a small cafe called Bohemie, where we have picked up some delicious looking pastries. Molly, a raspberry croissant, me, a butter croissant, Max, a pain au chocolat, and then some café, some coffee for the morning. Molly's café au lait, which has become her standard order here. It is the extra large.
I'm gonna surprise all of you and I tell you that coffee in France generally, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, it's delicious. It's just a latte, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. That's just good.
That's just like the best croissant I've ever had. It's so buttery and flaky, and then it's stuffed with fresh raspberry jam. Yeah, that's pretty good.
+1, but mine is stuffed with just tons of chocolate. Ugh.
Yeah. This is flaky and delicious. The best croissant I think I've ever had. Oh my, why is it so good though? I mean, I know why. We're in France. So, cheers. We are now quickly approaching the Louvre, which was, listen, on the route to the Louvre, we just passed the Royal Palace Gardens, and that's what you're looking at here. And Molly made the comment, imagine just having to take your morning run. What a awful view that would be. Terrible. In any case, golly. The Louvre as it stands today is the most visited museum in the world, although it was built in the late 12th or early 13th century under King Philip I to serve as a royal palace. It was later vacated in 1682 by Louis XIV when they relocated the royals to the Palace of Versailles, and the Louvre became the spot where you housed all of the royal collections because you needed a palace to keep all of your really cool things that you had picked up throughout the years. And now, just your stuff. Now, the size of the collection that is housed here is well over 600,000 pieces, but only 35,000 of those are on display. In fact, if you were to take 30 seconds to look at every individual piece of art, it would take you about 100 days to look at everything, which is a wild figure, and math is magic.
Now, as Alan said, there's well over 30,000 pieces of art on display, and we don't have 100 days to look at everything, so we have booked an express tour of the Louvre. This is a 2-hour tour with a small group and a guide who's going to take us through, skip the line at the front, hit the highlights, tell us some history of the Louvre and the pieces we're looking at. And I'm very excited because again, overwhelming amount of art, and of course, there's main things you want to look at when you're here. Very excited to get inside. And just as a note, we will not be recording our thoughts live while we're inside the Louvre, as a courtesy to our fellow guests and the tour guide, but we will be taking lots of video and picture as we're allowed to, and we'll share our favorites when we get out. All right, Max.
Yeah.
How are we going to steal the Mona Lisa?
Well, you and I will cause a distraction.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Guy in the chair. You've arranged the rest of the mission? He's the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
We're
We're the
distraction.
distraction.
Guy in the chair. You've arranged everything else?
Yep.
Perfect.
This is going to be good for the lava trade. We can get a lot of money for this, and thus a lot of lava.
We'll take the Mona Lisa. We'll sell it.
Yeah.
We'll buy lava.
Highest bidder.
Yeah. You want to buy it?
Here,
You can have it.
You can have it. Give us in 2 hours, we'll have it.
Yeah.
We're about to go see a Sphinx from Egypt, and it's, what did they say?
So it's 4,000 years old.
You know I can't handle
How you
that.
feeling about that?
My brain doesn't understand what you're saying. I can't comprehend that even a little bit. We're going in the Egypt section. Did anyone bring a mirror? We have to reanimate a mummy.
Mummies?
We gotta reanimate a mummy. It'll help us steal the Mona Lisa.
So true. Oh, was this the plan?
Good plan, Alan.
Good plan.
Alan. I'm overwhelmed. It's time. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alan, are you ready?
Get it going.
Wake the mummy up. It's time.
Moon's out, everybody. I am overstimulated.
Yeah, that was overwhelming.
It is just nuts to watch not only the scale and size of this space. The Louvre is massive.
Yeah.
But on the interior, when you just have an accumulation of not only history, but wealth.
Yeah.
The ceilings are like an attraction themselves. They're beautiful.
Every time I turned a corner, I thought I had seen the most beautiful thing, and then I was just wrong, I guess.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you liked that ceiling? Here's one covered in gold. Like,
Yeah, oh, you like this room that just has statues and artwork along the walls? Guess what? Do you want that, but also jewels?
the jewels.
Wow.
Oh, the jewels.
Wow.
All right. What was your favorite part of our trip through the Louvre?
I'm gonna say the Nike statue.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just like all of the carvings are unbelievable. The level of detail that was put into literal slabs of marble. And oh
Amazing.
my God, the thin layer of cloth over the body.
I can't. Yeah, dude.
That one was just particularly stunning to me.
I'm gonna +1 that with the carvings and say Venus de Milo. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Although a mystery to me why the guide said we didn't know what happened to her arms, because I've seen Hercules.
Yeah, we do know.
I know exactly what happened to
It was
her
a
arms.
date night.
Yeah, little accident, little whoopsie daisy on Herc's part, but again, so stunningly beautiful. And my mind is boggled at how old these things are.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And my mind is boggled that a peasant farmer found that while tilling his farm in Greece,
Yeah.
and he came across the Venus de Milo in 1820,
Yeah.
and it was made like centuries, like
Imagine you're that guy.
Yeah.
Just what?
Imagine you're that guy.
I can't.
For me, I think it has to be the Gallery di Apollo. Simply, and it's hard to pick anything in there, but that entire gallery is gilded,
Yeah.
coated in gold,
Yeah.
has a beautiful set of the astrological signs on top, and then you have the crown jewels
Yep.
of French royalty.
I want to borrow the bow. There was a hair bow that was just crusted with diamonds. And of course we saw the Mona Lisa, which is there. No, it's beautiful, but you can't get very close to it. We're gonna come back at night to steal it. Even
We shouldn't say that loudly here.
no, it's fine.
We're
it's
gonna
fine.
get the mummies. It'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Even we didn't queue for it. You can do an individual queue for it. We didn't do that, but like even still, you don't get that close
No.
to it
Yeah.
because it's heavily guarded.
Well, yeah, after the theft in 1911, I guess they want to keep a pretty heavy guard on that.
I mean, it is just wild, and like the Mona Lisa is, I think, one of the greatest examples of just see something that is so culturally significant,
Yeah.
and like has been present in my life forever.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's it.
Yep, right in front of
Most
you.
famous painting in the world.
Yep.
Right there. And we learned how her eye works. The eye trick of like that she's always following you. It was math. Because as Alan would
Math
say.
is magic.
And
Leonardo knew this.
yeah, one eye's looking right at you and the other one slightly differed to so that way she looks like she's following you. Which speaking of, we learned that from our guide. Our guide was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Highly recommend doing a tour like we did. We booked it through a website called getyourguide.com. Again, 2-hour tour, took us to everything you want to see, all the highlights.
Yep.
It would be very confusing in there otherwise.
Helped us navigate the entrance, helped us navigate the museum, and gave us just more information about the time period when these were created, the style in which they were carved, how you could tell the style in which they were carved.
Yeah.
Really fascinating.
It was like a multi-hour long line to get in otherwise, so I recommend a guide for no other reason than the fact that he got us in within like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind, with a guide without, this is the busiest museum in the world.
Yeah.
There are 11 million visitors a year, I believe he said. So it's gonna be very crowded, especially around the most famous pieces. It's gonna take time to navigate it. So patient pants are a must.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely a must do at least once, right?
sure,
I mean,
yes.
it's iconic. Well, we took a 20-minute walk to our next destination and stopped for some lunch along the way at a sandwich shop I read about online called Miche Sandwiches, and it was sandwiches and crepes, and it was delicious.
So yummy.
Just a nice, simple item, all prepared very well, very high quality, very
Yeah.
tasty.
I had a baguette that was warmed with 3 different kinds of cheeses, tomato, onion, and olive oil, and it was to die for.
I had a hot dog, which actually was definitely more sausage than hot dog, but just a baguette for bun, tons of cheese. Oh, my
Even
gosh.
I liked it.
It's so true.
And I had a baguette with salami, mozzarella, tomato, and lettuce, and it was majestic.
And then we all shared a Nutella and strawberry crepe, which was also phenomenal.
Delightful.
Fresh strawberries, perfectly made crepe. So now our bellies are full, and we're headed to go visit a famous cathedral. And no, probably not the one you're thinking. We saw that one yesterday.
True.
Notre Dame is free of charge, and you can make reservations on the official Notre Dame website, but they are few and far between, and I have checked every day and never seen a single day be available. They say online that they could drop anywhere from the day you want to go to a couple hours before you want to go to a couple days before you want to go. And that the only official way to skip this line is through the Notre Dame website, and you shouldn't believe third parties that say they can help you skip the line. And I have actually seen tour groups in this very same line, so keep that in mind. So we're just gonna wait in this long line and see how long it takes. But we have nothing else to do right now. Notre Dame is free to visit. Anyone can visit, and it's open every single day. I should note today is a French holiday. It's French Labor Day, so that may impact how busy this is, but I have heard it's always quite busy.
You know Molly's fascination with dates, so I'm going to share some of these with you. This originally, Notre Dame began construction or groundbreaking in the year 1163, and it was completed in 1345. So
That's a long time.
almost 2 centuries
That's
of
a long time.
construction on this. Now, at its highest height on the tower, at 69 meters tall, or 226 feet, the spire height itself is 96 meters, or 315 feet tall. And over its history, it has seen its fair share of both desecration and reconstruction. At times left to ruin and then brought back to its beauty that it is today. Also, fun fact, this was the place where Napoleon crowned himself emperor. So that's a fun little tidbit of history for you.
Of course, we probably all remember the very tragic 2019 fire, but that wasn't the only time it needed to be restored. Apparently, it was in a state of dilapidation and it wasn't well cared for. And then Victor Hugo's novel, Hunchback of Notre Dame, restored public interest in the cathedral, so restoration began. Also, I just read, and I don't want to question the official Notre Dame website, but I just read that the gargoyles are decorative, but in my experience, they can sing and dance.
I'm surprised they're not talking.
I thought they could sing and dance.
I mean, decorative in the way that, like, climbing Santa is decorative. He moves.
Yeah.
He plays a little ditty.
Yeah.
That's decorative.
I can see them up there, and I'm just waiting for them to accompany Quasimodo, who I assume's up there going to ring the bell.
It's a running show, or it has show times?
I think it's a running show. I think it's a
like every 18 minutes or something.
I think it's actually a magical surprise. We don't know when it's going to happen. You just have to get lucky. Yeah. But I assume Quasi's up there ready to ring Emmanuel, the famous bell.
Sure.
No.
Just as a note, we did just see a sign that requests no hats, no shorts, no spaghetti straps, no running, and no yelling, and to turn your phones on silent while in the cathedral out of respect. So just keep that in mind when you're planning your outfits. Well, she's pretty.
That is undeniable.
What a feat of human effort.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, so 2 centuries to build. That means that you've got at least 3 generations of people working on it, at least minimum. So having those plans go forward over generations is absolutely wild. And then what is brought about is a marvel of human ingenuity and construction.
What I was most excited to see was the stained glass, and the big circle pieces are about 40 feet across, and they are so stunningly beautiful. Like, it's there's no words to describe how beautiful all of the architecture is in there.
Yeah. Another, striking feature is the organ. The main organ is from 1400. Now, there's only like some original wood and pipes from that original organ. It's been redone many times and added to. And there's a secondary organ, but that's wild.
It's stunning. And first of all, it only took us like 30 minutes to get through that very long line, so it moved very quickly. People moved quickly through the space. I think you could spend 30, 45 minutes in there walking around if you're like us and just want to see it and don't want to partake in any kind of the activities. But well worth it. Absolutely beautiful, stunning. Alan?
Yes.
What was the thing you liked most about Notre Dame?
Oh, that's hard. I think for me it was just looking at the architecture in general. The stonework and masonry is brilliant. And it's hard for me to believe that was started to be built in 1163.
Max?
I mean, listen, I think you gotta talk about the stained glass. It is stunning. And, just everywhere you look, it is stunning. But also, can I mention, I didn't know it opened. I didn't know. I've never considered the fact that those glass could open. And we saw multiple that open. And the way they open, also surprising to me.
Agreed.
What about you, Malls?
Okay, I know I mentioned the stained glass already, but one very heartfelt, I don't know the right word right now, but they saved the original weather vane from this original spire that crumbled in the 2019 fire, and they thought the weather vane was lost, but they were actually found it amongst the rubble the next day, and they had that on display along with a thank you to all the people who raised money to rebuild Notre Dame. And that was just a beautiful human moment, I guess, of thank and kind of symbolic. So that was very interesting to see.
Today we will be visiting the Sainte-Chapelle, which was built actually in the middle of the 13th century by Louis IX, who would in the future be Saint Louis. Now this was actually created because Louis IX acquired 22 relics, passion relics, and he said, I want somewhere to put these. Might as well make an unbelievable chapel to house these items in. Notably, while yesterday we talked about Notre Dame being built over the course of almost 2 centuries, Sainte-Chapelle was built in record time, taking about 7 years to create, which is unbelievable. Sainte-Chapelle may most be known for its 15-meter high windows that depict over 1,100 scenes from the Old and New Testaments, telling the story of the world according to the Bible, up until Louis IX acquired his relics.
Now, unlike at Notre Dame, you can pay for express entry into Sainte-Chapelle, which we did again on the website getyourguide.com. It was $53 for all 3 of us, and taking a look at this line, I'm glad we did that. So we're gonna go find the meeting point now and head in. And just like with Notre Dame, we're not going to be talking into this camera while we're in there, because while it is a historic site, it is also a religious site, so we want to be respectful to the other guests.
That's pretty right there.
Turns out Paris is beautiful most places.
Is
All the
everything we see just the most beautiful thing we've ever seen?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Max said about the Louvre, you turn the corner and you're like, oh, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like every building I've been into, I'm like, that's the prettiest one. And then you see that with those stained glass and you're like, maybe it's this one.
Yeah. I knew going in, obviously I said that this main feature were those 15-meter high windows, but man, seeing them, turning that corner and just revealing the whole room is next level.
And with anything we're showing you, pictures are not doing it justice.
No, they just can't.
You can't. And that was beautiful. Now, I will say, it's €13 per person to enter if you wait in the regular line, and you're not even guaranteed to access, so you could wait for multiple hours and then have to pay 13 euros to get in. We paid roughly $3 more per person to have the booked in advance tickets, and we waited like maybe 10 minutes to get in.
Yeah.
So definitely worth this one to book in advance, I would say.
Absolutely.
And worth a visit. Didn't take long, not really big, but beautiful.
All right, well, next up, we are headed to the Catacombs. Now, we're not going to take you with us on this tour out of respect and deference for that location. I will let you know it did cost 31 euros per person, which is about 38 US dollars.
And I should let you know, if you're booking the Catacombs through the official website, which is what I recommend, it is hard to book them because they only are available a week out, and I mean that to the 15 minutes. Like, they drop a week out, Paris time, 15 minutes at a time. So, and they go really, really quick. So make sure you know when you want to go, roughly when you want to go, and book them as soon as possible, 1 week out to the 15 minutes. And like Alan said, we're not going to film in there, but as a Halloween girly, I'm very excited to go see a spooky location in France.
For sure. And also, we're not going to leave you alone in that time, though.
No.
Can't do that.
That'd be rude of us.
mean.
The three of us went on a river cruise last night. And
It was magical.
it was magical. And we have
Just like Alan to take you back in time.
We're taking you back in time right now. Alan, it won't work if you don't do it.
Do it, Alan.
Surprise, we're in New York now.
Ah, yes. There she is.
There she is, Lady Liberty.
Yeah.
Lest we not forget, she was a gift from France. And she has a sister here that I just learned about. I didn't know they had one too. I thought they just made one and gave it to us.
Oh, that would be very nice.
Yeah. But we are going to go on a Seine river cruise now, which I booked through an app called Viator, which is a website app that you can book excursions around the world, but it is through a small company that you do a private river cruise. So there's lots of different Seine river cruises you can do, but we wanted a private experience to be a little bit less touristy and less people-y.
Crowded, yeah.
Less people-y. It was about $550 total for all of us, but we could have put 8 people on the boat, I believe, for that price. So, you know, obviously we're less than that, but very excited. And now we have to go find our boat.
Yeah. Well, that was a fantastic experience.
That was awesome. It was worth every penny.
Yeah, the views were great, but more importantly, I think just that private boat excursion, the attention to detail, the fun facts that we learned.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Robert was awesome.
Yeah, Robert was great. I didn't know the ends on the side of the bridge literally meant Napoleon.
Yeah.
Before that. Bye, Robert! Au revoir!
It's a
Robert.
family. It's a family-run business to the point where they're a Polish family that immigrated here, and Robert surprised us with champagne and sodas, and they had Polish sodas in there, Polish cookies made by his mom, Polish tea made by his mom, as well as like waters and other beverages.
It was just so...
Which was a fun surprise. And then he took pictures the whole time. Like anywhere he said, I'm a good picture taker, and he airdropped everything to us.
Yeah.
He took Polaroid pictures as well, not just
They're
pictures on the
developing,
phone.
which is why they look like we're all ghosts right now.
Yeah, fun facts. At one point, he pulled us over to the side and showed us like locals dancing because it's
that
Thursday
was
night
so-
right now.
Oh, yeah.
That, I think, to me was just like such a fun you're dipping your toe in the culture, the true
Yeah.
culture of what's happening in Paris.
And everyone was waving, Bonsoir, bonsoir, like yelling at us on the boat. And he's like, here's where people dance at night. And he pulled us over.
And every cutout had different style
Music.
of dance,
Yeah.
different style of music.
You had very classical music. You had salsa, which was the most poppin' section.
Yeah. He also, you can kind of hear him in the background. I can't right now. I don't know if the phone is picking up the audio, but at one point he heard a street band and he pulled us over really close so we could hear the street musicians.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience, and I guarantee a better experience than if we had been on a big tour boat that we saw driving by with hundreds of people. Worth the extra money to do that private experience, and worth it to go at night.
And also, and in reality, it's not that much more than what you're going to do on one of the larger tours. So,
especially if you have more people.
Yeah, it could fit 8. I misspoke earlier. I said 6. The boat we were on could fit 8.
Yeah.
It was great. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 11 out of 10. All right, let's have a little catch up.
Well, we went to the Catacombs, which was spooky,
Heavy.
Haunting.
eerie, all the above. It is more in volume than I could conceive in my brain.
And frankly, that we could express. It's when you're looking at quite literally years upon years of just
Millions of bones.
humanity, it's a lot to take in. So we did that.
I would recommend it, though. If you are interested in history, it is obviously a dark part of history, but it is
Very real.
very interesting, very humbling, I would recommend it if first of all, if you're not claustrophobic, and second of all, if you'll be okay with the darker nature of it. It is very interesting.
Tour also includes not just the catacombs, but also sections where the city had been worked on because Paris was collapsing into the mining quarries that were under it, and how it was saved with some of the infrastructure that was put in. You walk through that first, and then enter the catacombs section. Yeah. Super interesting. We had an audio guide that gave us tons of information about it.
That came with our tickets, by the way.
Came with the tickets, and was, fascinating, if also a bit haunting.
We then took a little stroll, and we went down the Champs-Élysées and enjoyed that, and ended at the Arc de Triomphe, which we stared at with majestic wonder.
Yeah, I looked at that with my eyeballs, and it's big.
We did not climb it, obviously, but you can if you'd like to. It was stunning, and then we took a cab over this way, which is closer to the Eiffel Tower, which is where we're having dinner.
You say cab, and you are underselling what it is we did.
You guys don't understand.
Alan has found his favorite thing in Paris,
It's not the art of the Louvre. It's not the food. It's not
Uber adjacent.
It's the lift of Paris.
It is called G7. Put respect on both the letter and number. And they are an amazing service that you can sign up for, and it will get you a professional driver around the city. You can also, for those of you who are traveling from overseas, from the United States or from an English-speaking country, you can also select if you would have an English-speaking preference, as well as the size of vehicle. And you can also schedule those rides for in the future, like I have done for Molly and I, heading to not only the train station tomorrow morning, but also what I will schedule for the trip to the airport. And it's been awesome.
I've just put together that G is the 7th letter of the alphabet.
I didn't know that until right now.
It also is nice because they can take the bus lane, so it's actually faster than taking Uber, and it's what we read online was it was more reliable as well.
Very clean vehicles, very professional drivers, and so it might be a bit more expensive than other rideshare options, but
or the metro,
but you are
reliable.
getting a quality, reliable experience.
And it's been really great too, not having to try and figure out how to navigate the metro. We literally just type in the app, just like you would with Uber. And by we, of course, I do mean Alan, because he gets very excited every time we decide that we're far enough away that we need to take a car.
He says, "Is it time?"
Yeah.
And we do it.
And we do.
Great.
And it's been great. Now we've got a little bit before our dinner reservation, so if only there was like a cafe nearby to get a cocktail or a
that's
glass
ridiculous.
of wine.
There aren't cafes in Paris.
There's one right there. There's one right there.
I think we passed 7 on this street.
There's one over there.
Yeah.
So we're going to go do that before dinner.
Well, lucky for us, we were somehow able to find a cafe where we had a nice sit and a beverage and a little munchie before eating again. And dinner tonight is at, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, La Berge Bresson, which is a traditional French bistro with a medieval theme. You can see the decor inside fits this. And this was recommended to me by some friends, as well as it has high reviews on the internet because of its classic French cooking and the fact that it's not too far away from the Eiffel Tower, but it is not actually touristy. And if you take a look at the menu, which they kindly provided us an English menu, you will see classic French cooking such as escargot, frog legs. They are known for their soufflés, both sweet and savory. Their specialties include chicken in famous cream sauce, Chateaubriand, and then their dessert menu largely features warm soufflés, as well as a few other things. The first item has arrived, and I don't think I've ever been so excited to see something come to my table. This is the Comté, which is a type of French cheese soufflé, and it's ginormous. It's like as big as my face. I don't even know. It's like eating a cloud. If that cloud was made of cheese and egg. It's so light and delicious. For my main course, I went for their famous chicken and cream sauce with yellow wine and morel mushrooms. This was some of the best chicken I've ever had. It was served on the bone, skin on. It fell apart, wasn't dry at all, but the real star here was this creamy, delicious mushroom sauce. It was earthy, it was rich, it was fantastic. This is why we came to this restaurant. French classic cooking done incredibly well. Simple deliciousness to the highest degree.
I picked up the Chateaubriand with a creamy mushroom sauce on the side with morel mushrooms in it. This was cooked incredibly well, very moist and juicy all the way through. A larger piece of meat than I was anticipating. I loved the crust that it had on the outside, and that mushroom sauce was deep, earthy, had a lot of the umami flavor, and I love that it had the morels in the sauce that I could cut up and eat with the steak. Listen, I knew I was full before I finished this cut of meat, but I just kept eating. This also came with a side of fries, and they were pretty darn tasty. I enjoyed them, very crisp, fluffy on the inside.
For dinner, I had the tagliatelle, and this was delightful. It was cooked perfectly, and the sauce was creamy and delicious. Very enjoyable.
And for dessert, we picked up the trio of 3 mini soufflés. Now, pro tip, if you're going to order soufflés at this restaurant, make sure you do it at the start so they have enough time to prepare them. This trio is made up of their signature chocolate, salted caramel, and Grand Marnier soufflés. I dug into the Grand Marnier, which was quite literally covered in Grand Marnier and then lit on fire in front of us. This was perfect. It was eggy, it was light, it had that orange flavor. You could still taste the booze. A fantastic soufflé.
I had the chocolate soufflé. It was just a plus on everything Molly said about the soufflé itself. Light, like eating a cloud, but it was so deeply rich with very, very, very rich dark chocolate flavors. I loved it, not super sweet, and I don't understand how a dessert can be this rich and this light at the same time.
And you've heard about the texture from the last two, so I'm going to take all of my time here to tell you that this salted caramel was unbelievable. The flavor was probably the best caramel I've ever tasted in my life, and it was hands down everyone at the table's favorite of these 3 mini soufflés.
Overall, this was a very enjoyable restaurant, a great recommendation for classic French cooking, not too far from the Eiffel Tower, not touristy. We saw lots of locals enjoying their meal here, and everything we had was cooked to perfection.
And next up this evening, for our last stop, we are headed to the iconic Eiffel Tower. Now, this tower was constructed between 1887 and 1889 for the 1889's World's Fair and was named for its lead architect, Gustave Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower. Now, if you can believe it, originally this was thought of as an eyesore, but has come to be one of the most beloved icons around the world and is in fact the most visited monument, with an entrance fee, little caveat there, in the world.
Listen, I'm not trying to knock on the Eiffel Tower. That feels like a made-up sports stat.
Really feels like we're adding some caveats here.
Yeah, like, is it or is it not the most visited?
Well, if you have to pay a price for admission.
And pay a price we did. I booked tickets for this on headout.com, which is another travel website where you can book different excursions around the world. and chose out of the many, many, many Eiffel Tower options a host visit to the summit. So when you're booking Eiffel Tower tickets, you can book them to the second story, or you can book them all the way up to the summit. You can book a guide who will tell you fun facts about the Eiffel Tower, stairs access, all sorts of things. What I will say is the official website was sold out of tickets, so I looked for a third party, and I was able to book one on this website. It was $111 per person. We're at a meeting place about 2 blocks away from the Eiffel Tower, where a guide is going to help us get through, I assume, a very long security line, and then up to the second story, where then we will be permitted access up to the summit as well. Now, that is decently more expensive than if we had bought the tickets from the official Eiffel Tower website. Those would have been 36 euros. Our tickets would have been about 90 euros, so pretty big difference there, but there weren't any available. We wanted to be guaranteed access up to the summit. Most people, I assume, are planning their trips much further out than we are. And based on all the other lines we've seen throughout this trip at the popular locations, I do think having a host to help us navigate that will be quite helpful. However, what I would not recommend doing is waiting to buy them once you get here, because I have read online that the lines get very, very long and they can sell out. So no matter what, I would recommend having them in advance.
Now you have two options to get to the first and second floors. You can take the stairs. It's about 300 stairs per floor. So it'll be 300 stairs to the first and another 300 to the second. And then, of course, there is the lift. Now that is the option we are taking. To achieve the top floor, the lift is your option. I can't imagine how many stairs that would be, nor do I wish to try to climb that.
There's the leg. So hope that stays solid. It looks pretty good.
It's looking pretty solid to me.
Alan, are you nervous about going up?
I've been higher.
When?
Climb Mount Fuji.
Oh, that's true. That's true. He was right. He was right. How tall is the Empire State Building?
How does it compare?
Hold, please.
The Empire State Building is taller.
So you've been taller than this, and we're here to talk about it. So.
For reference, the Eiffel Tower stands at 300 meters tall, which is 985 feet, while the Empire State Building is 381 meters in height, so about 1,250 feet to its original rooftop. So, I don't know, it's just something about seeing the inner iron framework that is a touch off-putting. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong. From a mathematical perspective, I love it, but also, I don't know, it's just heights. Maybe.
All right, that was a little rockety at a few points. I get Alan's concern.
All right, here we are on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower, 120 meters in the sky. Now this way you can see the military school. Over there in the distance, Notre Dame, and even a little bit more, a scooch to the left of that, you have the Louvre, which, goodness gracious, looks massive in scale even at this distance. That dome structure there is the Invalides Dome. This is by far an incredible view, looking down at all the tiny pinpricks of light throughout the city and the incredible architecture from a bird's eye view.
Here he comes. Were you helping an old lady? Were you helping an old lady? Alan, do you see how close we are? We can steal the moon. Mom's gonna make it very proud. Max, if we steal the moon, we can take it with us to the Louvre.
This is a good plan. I think if we have the moon, the mummies will be even more.
For
I mean,
real.
we have the whole moon.
We could get all the mummies.
Yeah, every mummy is ours.
Yeah, the Mona Lisa's
obviously.
ours.
I think one of the most wild parts about this is that there was an apartment that Monsieur Eiffel had on the 3rd floor where he would invite over folks to visit, one of them being even Thomas Edison. Imagine being so cool that you just have an apartment here and they just discovered stairs up. I don't love that. Oh dear. I would like to make an addendum to my previous statement by saying the Eiffel Tower is only 300 meters tall. It is 330 meters tall with the antenna at the top. So thank you, infographic here. Not at all terrifying.
We have decided to take the stairs down. Not from the top. From where, Alan? The 2nd floor?
Yep. 600 stairs.
600 stairs? Why did I agree to this? Actually, this is my idea. This was a terrible idea. We're doing great. We did it!
That was very cool and not at all horrifying.
We didn't just walk down 600 steps.
We did do that.
We did do that.
Now we're on the ground.
My legs are jello.
Well, noodle eggs.
I think that was a fantastic way to end an incredible day around Paris. Doing a lot of, let's just be clear, a lot of touristy stuff, but it's
We're tourists.
pretty
tourists.
Yeah, we are. It's pretty freaking awesome, and this is just beautiful.
I'm
Yeah,
glad we did
icon.
this at night.
Oh,
I think at night it was really beautiful. Glass of champagne on top of the Eiffel Tower. Stunning view. Could see glitter.
Twice.
Yeah.
So true.
Now, do I think you need to book a guide like we had or a host like we had? No, you could just buy the tickets in advance, but the fact that they weren't available for us made the guide worth it, especially because they were sold out of Summit tickets by the time we got here. So I think a must do when you come to Paris for your first
I would
time,
agree.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is a wrap on our day in Paris. A couple of things we learned though. We got a lot of questions about if there is a language barrier or how we navigated that. And it really wasn't a struggle. I think so long as you learn a couple of key phrases in French like hello, you're welcome, goodbye, thank you, that's going to work wonders. In fact, most folks we met did speak English, plus all the signs at the very touristy locations we were at were in both French and English, so it was very easy to navigate.
A huge part of Parisian culture that we enjoyed while here is cafe culture, which honestly I feel like I was made for because it's sitting in a cafe, drinking coffee or wine, eating cheese and carbs, and facing out onto the street. But a couple things to know about dining in French restaurants, especially cafes. One, they tend to be a little bit slower service than United States restaurants because the French consider this a time to relax and luxuriate and enjoy yourself. Number two, there is no tipping. That is not just at restaurants. There are not tips anywhere, so you don't need to tip guides or bellhops like you would in the United States. And number three, water does not typically come with your meal. If you would like water with your meal, you are going to need to ask for it, and you are most likely going to have to pay for it.
Now, in terms of paying for things, most everywhere that we went did accept credit cards. However, I will say that we each pulled out a little bit of money in euros just to have it in case we wanted to shop somewhere that was cash only. Widely, we did not need that cash throughout the trip.
And if I've said it once, I've said it at least 100 times for Molly and Max here, but only twice for you. Download the G7 app. It was really a lifesaver in terms of navigating around the city. I always felt super secure and comfortable, and the drivers are very professional.
And lastly, as when you're visiting any country outside of yours, taking the time to learn some of the cultural norms and how things are done there goes a long way. And frankly, we had wonderful experiences from the guides and the hosts at the different attractions to the servers in the cafes. I felt very welcomed and invited and had a wonderful time in Paris.
And with that, our time in Paris has come to a close. Future Alan here. Molly and I actually had another day in Paris where we discovered two spots that we wanted to share with you, which was recommended to us by our hotel concierge, a place that, and I quote, says they're known for their macarons. Well, it turns out they are attributed with creating the macarons, so that makes sense why they're known for them. We went there for coffee, had an excellent meal, and the next day went back to grab another coffee and pick up some macarons to take home with us. It was excellent.
When walking about and shopping, we also discovered the James Joyce Bar, which was this cute little bar that served classic cocktails, but the reason it's so fun and we're sharing it with you is they had a very unique menu as well, where you simply chose a color off this color chart. Alan was thrilled, and then everything in that cocktail was made with an ingredient of that color, and then the bartenders wouldn't tell you what it was made from, encouraging you to guess what was in your drink. We ordered a couple and had so much fun with this activity. It was very unique and a great place to stop for a unique cocktail experience in Paris. Okay, back to you, past Molly, Alan, and Max.
If you haven't already, check out our content from Disneyland Paris during our trip.
Also, we've been to other places around the world, including
have.
Japan, New York City, LA,
China.
so check out those videos as well.
And until next time, friends, please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you are new, follow us on all of our socials, and come join us on Discord. We'd love to have you. Links for all that are down below.
Tell us where we should visit next down in the comments as well. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
I'm Max.
And it has been très magnifique. Au revoir!
Au revoir.